With energy companies reporting record profits at a time when the cost of gas, electric, and fuel are rising, should the profits be at a record high? Or considerably smaller given the increased cost for energy suppliers? Costs have been rising in the UK, with the majority of the blame in the mainstream media being targeted at the Russia-Ukraine war. However, the rising costs are less related to the war than they are of companies taking advantage of rising inflation impacted by COVID-19. The rising costs and decline in the stock market are due to the rise in pharmaceutical stocks, and any company currently tied with one of those companies facing a rebalancing. Stocks for companies related to pharmaceutical companies and medical equipment manufacturers rose dramatically during the pandemic, with increased demand significantly raising profits. Since the decline in demand for these products and services, the various companies' stock values are rebalancing to pre-COVID prices, leaving a massive decline in the various stock markets that held contracts for these companies. In fact, the UK only receives 4% gas and 9% oil and other fossil fuels from Russia, a small amount in comparison with the reserves held not only by the UK but its various allied countries. And the higher percentage imports made by other European countries, who in turn are facing no rise in energy prices. With a reported high impact on fuel costs for energy companies, you would expect to see this impact in their profits. However, all the registered energy and fuel operating companies in the UK are reporting record-breaking profits, with an estimated £170 billion for the years 2022-23 alone. Further to this, the wholesale prices of gas, oil, and other fossil fuels used in the production of electricity and petrol should have been expected to rise exponentially. Again, the contrary appears to have happened, with the first price hike of 54% in April. Energy companies faced the lowest purchases prices in years merely a week later, with a meager cost of 0.06p per kilowatt hour at peak times for electricity, whilst the cost to consumers rose to over 0.25p per kilowatt hour. In gas, again, energy companies faced a return of similar stature. It's hard to see how such costs can legally be allowed to be fraudulently put to the consumer with a fake reporting of inflated prices. With a further rise due in October of over 80% and the wholesale cost of energy dropping, it is looking like the estimated profits for these companies will only further increase, whilst the cost of living for the average citizen will rise to put those already at risk further on the breadline. Whilst the new Prime Minister Liz Truss has placed a cap on the already overinflated energy costs, one could argue her time would be better spent protecting the people by forcing the energy companies to charge at the more reasonable before COVID. However, with no such change in sight and a meager 2-year cap of £2,500 per household, the future looks uncertain. Put to this the rising cost of food, and we have a nation with its most vulnerable, not at serious risk of significant harm, with many facing the winter without the prospect of heating or real sustenance. With the mainstream media following the story put forth by the energy companies and Parliament, it is unlikely many will know how to efficiently argue the rising costs with suppliers. A movement of cancelling direct debits is on the rise, with many signing up to take part. The experts who claim to find the best deal for the people are urging against this due to risk of credit-related issues, or else further debt. With the war between Russia-Ukraine still in effect and nations refusing to purchase gas and oil from Russia, it is highly likely the blame will continue to be cast upon this event. Whilst many are in support and taking to social media in support of Ukraine, acknowledging the issue on our borders and intrusion by all NATO members including the UK, it is placing an element of risk on our society, with not only rising costs but threats of nuclear retaliation, or so it is reported in the mainstream media. Whilst the real truth shows no support to either party, we do show support to the citizens of the United Kingdom and are of the view we need to support and protect our own citizens from the propaganda being spread throughout mainstream media and the Houses of Parliament. We would urge all citizens, if you are in need, to contact local food banks or contact your local council to see what help is available. Services are available for both those on benefits and the working members of our society. This is a developing story and will be updated in due course. Information on pricing found in this article was found through a reliable source with access to the wholesale energy market. Follow our Twitter for further updates by clicking here.